Hey everyone. It's been a long time since I posted a video, and a lot of that has to do with our demonetization. We spent millions of dollars on content with the celebrity interviews and editing and venue rentals and wrestlers and everything you could pretty much put into play on stuff to make YouTube content, and then YouTube started paying less money, and it eventually just got demonetized, which was they had claimed it was copyrighted content, but I am the creator. I own the content. I wrote the shows. I edited them myself for the most part. Shadowed in a few of them, but now with a lot of the videos we were doing, they were expensive, big budget. Bret Hart, Jake the Snake, our long list of workers. Even if we were taping over a series of a month, excuse me, it was very expensive. So we stopped doing that, and then we went into the lockdown, which everyone's in right now, and it just got even worse from there. So it's impossible right now for us to create new content, at least at the content level we were making, and we don't want to make content that isn't as good as what we were making, and with everything, the lockdowns and the quarantines and all this other silly stuff, because we're from Winnipeg, and we have the worst draconian lockdowns there is going on right now. You can't go to the store and buy an action figure. You can't go buy a t-shirt. You can't buy anything. So essentially, the entire, at least province of Manitoba, is stuck buying from Amazon, making Jeff Bezos very, 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 very rich beyond what he was yesterday and a year ago. So now that they're spending all their money on Amazon and other websites like that, it's very hard. Like, I own a small collectibles store here in Winnipeg, and it would fund a lot of our shows from my sales and from our customers and our fan base and things like that. And we would have celebrities and wrestlers and whatnot come into the store and sign autographs, and that would pay for our talent and flights and hotels and things like that. So we haven't been making any content at all, filming content. We can't have gathering sizes. So I just don't think that for what we do, empty arena matches, you can find a million empty arena matches from WWE, from AEW, from everywhere else. It's just not something that we want to spend our money doing, because it's just not where we can put our resources to do. So what I want to talk about today is I'm going to start a type of 2021 vlog, I guess. And this one right now is about where our country is headed, and you could find a million videos probably out there like this right now too. So what I kind of wanted to touch base on was our money system right now. So many people in Canada are having hard times finding jobs, saving money, keeping money for what's going on down the road. They keep saying, 2 weeks it'll get better, 2 weeks it'll get better. Well, we're at a year now, and it hasn't been 2 weeks. It never was 2 weeks. It's not going to be 2 weeks this time. It's not going to be 2 weeks next time. People need to just understand that if they put you in a prison system and said you're being locked up for a year, people would go crazy and riot. But if they keep telling you, 2 weeks, 2 weeks, chances are it's like, well, we'll just wait out the 2 weeks. It'll be fine. It's not fine. It's not okay. People need to take off their mask and put it down and just pretty much just say, hey, we're done with this. And things will maybe move on if the majority of the people agree that, hey, we're kind of done with this now. Because they said people were going to die in droves and people were going to get sick in droves, and it's not happening. People aren't dying in the streets. Kids aren't going to the schools, and they're not dying in the streets. And nobody's dying on the playground anyway. The peanut butter is scarier than the coronavirus or COVID-19, whatever you want to call it. Now, I wasn't much for military operations and things like that, but when I played a video game, there were always COVID ops, and you were out there doing things. Now, I'm not a massive conspiracy theorist. I just see what plays on and what plays out day by day, and try to put it together for myself, at least so I can have some assurance. Now, recently they stormed Capitol Hill, and it looks like it was set up that way because you got cameras everywhere. You got people taking pictures inside the Capitol Hill, like were they just hanging around there taking pictures that day? You know, I imagine there was a couple of camera people there to do the election, and they were counting the ballots and whatever it was that they were doing there that day. Now, our Prime Minister, Justin Trudeau, he's gone out and said, hey, look, they're attacking the democratic system. But they're not attacking the democratic system. They are angry. They are mad that Donald Trump didn't win the election because they voted for him. Now, if you have half your country that wants Donald Trump, the man who is out there and spoken and a businessman and wants to put profit in their country, and they're angry, no, we need to do more. Forget about those people. That's one half of the country. And then you've got the other people in there that want the pedophile guy, Biden. They want him in there because he's going to make our country older. Either way, they're both 80-year-old white guys, and they're both going to screw everything up. It just happens that way. It's happened that way for the last 100 years. And, like, Canada, we voted in the young guy. He had no idea what he was doing, and we're paying for it now. We're in the most debt we've ever been in history. At least our government is. And eventually it's going to crack somewhere where the country is not going to be able to pay the money back, and they're not going to be able to say, hey, we gave all of our money away to this country and that country. And it reminds me of that Simpsons episode where the bank doesn't have your money. It's in Bill's house and Mo's house. And what the hell are you doing with my money in your house, Phil? And the country is mortgaged to the hills. So people that own property are going to lose their property if they have a mortgage. And in Canada, we had what they call a CERB payment. So now, Canadians got $2,000 a month for 6 reoccurring payments. So that's $12,000. Now, you can go on and owe our country $9,999 and not be, not be fearful of them coming for your property or your things or your vehicles or what have you. So now you get into a fact where you owe $10,001, which is where the $12,000 comes into play. Now they can put a lien on your house, they can put a lien on your property, they can dip into your bank accounts, they can do whatever it is they want to do if you owe them this money, especially if now you've got penalties and fees, and then you've got to pay everything back because you weren't allowed the money in the first place, the taxes, now you're not working, you have this money, you spent it all because you were promised more relief, you were promised to reopen, you were promised you'd get back to normal life. So now you're not in normal life. Our country is no longer helping you. You've been evicted from your home. Your family is starving, not necessarily starving to death, but they're going hungry. Groceries are a luxury. Now it's taking a village to raise a family versus a family to raise one child. Now we're getting to a point where businesses are closing every day, at least in Manitoba, where I'm from. Some of us are fortunate enough to have saved for a rainy day. Nobody's saved for a rainy year, at least, without having to supplement income and do such things. And if we are moving into a digital style of making all of our economics digital, where you just pay everything online, everything in the whole world is going to be like those microtransaction video games where every little thing you need to buy costs extra money. Well, today I want an extra granola bar with my food, so that's an extra $1.29 plus shipping. Thank you, Amazon. Oh, you're out of stock of my granola bars, so now I can't get one either. It'll take 3 to 5 days to get my refund. Thank you. So the odd Star Wars thing from where you go but you buy things on credits and you trade things in for credits and you don't really get any money or anything like that. It's far-fetched, but that seems the way it's going to be. Now, for people who don't have credit and they don't have the luxury of having anything to borrow against, if they come to a cashless society, you won't be able to pay somebody cash to, do your yard or, shovel your snow or any menial jobs you need them to do. Day labor is going to become a thing of the past. So for the people doing those jobs, where are they left to? They don't have anything. For people who run their businesses, they might be in more debt than they've ever been. if they're able to adapt to things like Skip the Dishes or Uber Eats or any of the delivery services, because everybody has to eat at home and you can't have people over now. So you're ordering out because you don't want to cook, or you're afraid to go to the grocery store, or you got to wear that stupid mask everywhere that you go. So people are staying home and they're fed up with it. But how long can you stay home? How long can you be afraid of catching a cold? I don't care if COVID-19, spreads to millions of people and the odd person is going to get it. It happens. That's the way life works. I'm not afraid to go out. I've never been afraid to go out. I'm a healthy 30-year-old man, but I'm afraid for, say, my father to go out and contract it from somebody and get sick. So you're always worried about something, somebody, if you're not worried about yourself. And it's become disheartening because you can't just go back to living a normal life. People want to go back to the way it was. Well, the way it was didn't work because you didn't save $1 for COVID-19. Your neighbor didn't save $1 for a rainy day. The guy down the street might have had extra money put away, or credit cards, or what have you, but a lot of people suffered really, really badly. And we're at a point where the odd person is still kind of passing away from underlying conditions, or they're dying because they haven't caught it yet, and all of a sudden they did. But in the early stages last year, a lot of the people that were going to catch it right away and die, well, they did, and that's very unfortunate. It's very sad. It's sad, but we have the NHL starting again right away. Okay, so they can fly around and play hockey and make millions of dollars, but you can't go buy a t-shirt. They can fly around and train and go wherever they want and go to gyms, but I can't go to a gym. It's a very private thing, so now you got to buy home gym equipment, and you got to stay in your house, and people don't have large homes, and not everybody does anyway, where you can store that stuff. Or we're in the middle of winter right now, we don't all have heated garages, so like my wrestling ring that's in my backyard now is under a mountain of snow because the place I used to store it, I can't afford to store it there anymore because we're closed. And we can't afford the retail property right now. Like we still have the store and the office and things like that, but we don't have the filming studio that we had, and we don't have the luxuries to those buildings because they're not letting people in to film. Even if we're filming the odd commercial or what have you, you can't. So when people need to work but they don't have any resources, your resources go from a mountain of resources to get yourself capital to lower and lower and lower till you have no resources at all. And I feel really bad for our sister company, Canadian Wrestling Elite, who had to cancel this tour, and then the next tour, and the next tour, and the next tour, because the government promised them they'd be open. Okay, well, they'd be open. They're still not open, and you can't be open. And it's not because 4 or 5 people are testing positive a day. It's not, all the rules are going everywhere around the country. Here in Manitoba, we had rules for a month that were really ridiculous. And then all of a sudden, California got those same rules. And those same rules to a T. And it's very strange how my country and my province can have the same rules as a place 2,000 miles away. They can get the same. It's not nearly as bad as it is in Australia right now, where they can't go 5 kilometers from their house. But it can get that badly if they decide it wants to. And the people are not fighting. They're not doing anything. So if we have this communist dictatorship that's just deciding what's good for us without even asking us, there's going to be no fight left. They're taking away your weapons. They're taking away your freedom of speech. I'm banned from Facebook for 5 days for applauding those guys for running up Capitol Hill and trying to get noticed. They should have. They didn't hurt anybody. They didn't kill anybody. They didn't blow up the place, But a lot of that stuff is just staged like everything else to make Trump look even worse than he did before. Trump can't even apologize for that stuff because he didn't incite any such riot, but he makes some comments for some people that are very, very, pro-Trump, which is okay. You can be pro whoever you want. People were pro-Clinton. People were pro-Bush. People around the world were pro-Saddam Hussein. People were pro Cuba when they had Castro in power. A lot of people are pro a lot of things, but that doesn't mean it's good for everybody. Now, people aren't getting sick in a little boutique or in a Boston Pizza. They're not getting sick going out and trying to go swimming. They're getting sick at places like Walmart and places like Superstore and other places like Target and big box stores and malls. That's where they're getting sick, prolonged shopping in those big box stores. They're not getting sick going into a little place. I'm sorry that, those big places have a lot of clout against the government and a lot of big lawyers that can sue for trying to make them closed or calling them out by name, but nobody is getting sick from going out and having a dinner with their family. It's not the way things are going. So, I get that maybe they don't have any other ideas of how people are getting sick. Maybe people are just getting sick from getting sick, They could have it in the water and never tell you it was in the water because they don't want to. Now, I've gone off on this rant about a lot of different things, and, half of you are probably still watching, half of you aren't, just to see what the hell I'll say. But the point is, people need to come together to make a decision on what is good for everybody. I can't agree with what's good is for the goose is good for the gander. The gander needs to fight back for the gander and get rid of a couple of useless geese. Because a couple of useless geese are going to ruin the world for all of us. And if we don't fight in numbers and we don't challenge it together, a lot of us could get together and afford the best lawyers in the entire world to fight this system from the inside. We don't need to fight it with guns. We don't need to fight it with fisticuffs. We can fight it with money. We can fight it with lawyers. We can fight it with scientists. And we can fight it with real doctors that aren't being shut down because they're being paid to play part of the game. There are people out there that are speaking up and speaking out for people that are being silenced because not enough people are getting together. But if I put in my money and you put in your money and your neighbors put in their money and we all got together, this could be over a lot sooner than you think. There are a lot of people out there with a lot of good resources, and a lot of people have families with lawyers in them that will go to bat for this if they could. So leaving a bunch of us just in turmoil and in virtual purgatory. People are dying at home. One of my closest friends died just this week, and nobody could go see him. Nobody could talk to him. He can't have a funeral. Now, that's not just my friend, but for his family and for his other friends and for people around the world that can't go to a funeral and can't see their friends, and people are dying because they're at home, locked down, and they have nobody. I don't care if a few people get sick. It's not worth it. We are going to lose everyone if we don't stand up for this. I'm sorry if we lose a few. I'm sorry if we lose a few people that are close to you. I'm sorry if we lose a few people that are close to everyone. But everybody needs to stand up before we lose everybody. Later days.